What's going on? Let me make sure I'm not on mute because that's something that I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Welcome.
Okay. Count 1, 2,
3.
Bet.
There it is. The internet gods.
I was about to say the same thing. Anyway, welcome to another Thursday Night Live with those two sisters. Tonight we have a really good topic because I think that everybody should have a morning routine, and we're going to share ours, and we're going to talk a little bit about why we do it or why we don't do it, because nobody's perfect over here. And then we're going to get into JEEN-YUHS, and I know that I'm late to the party. I know, but I'm in there now, and I have some things to say because I remember watching. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, how was your week?
Indeed. Oh, man. Oh, my week, for lack of a better term, was sobering because I had off last week. And by off, that just means off of my day job. So I was able to delve into all of these pet projects that I have. And I was so excited and alive. And and then this week was my first week back at work. And it was just, I will say this. I love my coworkers. I feel like I work with a really good group of people. I love our organization. I feel like, they're doing really good things, but I also feel like when you have to, I was just kind of mentioning this, when you're able to pour everything into yourself and do all the stuff you love, and then you have to come away and do what you're paid to do, it's kind of deflating because it's like, oh, okay, now I got to go and do this. And it's not like the work is hard or sad or anything like that. It's just, it was hard. So my week was sobering in that way because I was just like, okay, back to this.
No, but that should light an extra fire under us, right? Because and we'll get into this in later on in the thing, because it really does go with that. And I cannot believe it took me so long to watch it. I really am.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to that topic.
But it really makes you be like, why am I doing this? Because you do have control to change your circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that too, but we're going to get to that. So how was your week?
My week was good. So I'm in week 3 of my workout. You know what I'm saying? My year challenge workout, meaning I got to work out 3 to 4 days a week for the next year, because I feel like definitely after that, it'll be a habit and I'll just have to do it. It already feels like a habit, right? So I had, good 3-day workout. I got one more to get in, which is going to be on Saturday. And I'm going to do a challenge that is going to make me look totally crazy, but I got to do it for self-accountability because it'll be, documented here. And so I have nowhere to go but up from there, because I know it's going to be a doozy. But you guys have to watch the Fit Vlog. Watch out for the Fit Vlogs weekly. For
yes,
that.
I love them.
I post the Fit Vlog. But yeah, so other than that, the week was good. And it's like, I know a lot of people live in a reaction-based bubble. They don't do stuff until something happens to affect them, and then they got to figure out how to solve this problem. But what I think, as far as my life experience, is there's always going to be something that you're trying to fucking figure out. Something that you're always trying to make happen. The subject just changes from season to season. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I think that once you start looking at it like that and not really wait for anything to happen, you are just making sure you do certain things to make you be able to keep moving no matter what happens. Because you got to keep going, period. You know what I'm saying? So this whole week was filled with stuff like that, because I had to, go into the office. And then your nephew has a situation with housing right now that requires him to be on a wait list. Yeah. But he still got stuff to do on campus before school starts. So been doing that, making stuff happen for him. I can tell he's feeling a certain kind of way or whatever, but I see that he's getting a fire to get something completed that he should have probably completed before. So, and we'll talk about what it is. But
it's so funny. You mentioned you have to go through it yourself in order to kind of
it's like, I wish I could just go in the kitchen and make this little bubble, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and be like, here, eat this, so that you'll know everything that I need you to know. You know what I'm saying?
Bubble on.
But I realized
that
be somebody. You never stop being a parent. Your role just changes. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even that it's any easier. It's easier in the sense of I don't have to wipe his ass. I don't have to, do things for him. I can make him do or tell him to do stuff or whatever. But it's just sometimes you got to sit there and watch something that you know is happening and watch how they handle it, because you, as a mom, you kind of want to step in and help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can't do that. But in certain situations, I'm always going to be here for him. But I know it's certain things that he just gotta, go through himself. But anyway, so other than that, not even other than that, but the week was great regardless of whatever, because like I said, you got to keep it moving. So we was going to make it work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something about this young man. He's been well prepared. So all the stuff, you got to think how you could kind of speak for how we went through it, because you were kind of, you were definitely a great big sister. So the same ways that you tried to prepare me, even though the same ways you tried to prepare me for certain things, I still did whatever I was going to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm sure you kind of felt a similar way. Of course, it's much different now with him because, but I feel like, when you're well prepared, you have the information and you got the figure it outness that we had.
And I'll be like telling him, I always tell him, yo, you are growing up in a great technological era right now. I was like, we didn't have half the stuff that y'all had.
Gosh.
You know what I'm saying? And, and it makes me laugh when he asks me certain things sometimes. Now, he does Google stuff and if it's important to him, he'll look it up. But sometimes he'll ask me stuff and I'll be like, Google broke? but I came to this conclusion that there's nothing that I've seen him not be able to do.
I know that about him. He's one of the smartest people. It's really ridiculous. So, but anyway, so let me ask you more about your morning routine and how, how that plays out, and what are because I know you're doing your fitness thing, and I don't know when in the day you do fitness, but like, how does your morning routine set you up for your day, and what do you think about morning routines? So
I used to hear people say all the time, this is before I actually ingested it, that, your success is in your morning routine. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, thinking about whatever my morning routine was, I'm like, I took it as a, am I missing a skill that I could be monetizing or something? But it wasn't that. It's that you have to decide what you're going to do. And that routine, if you keep doing it, will set you up for success. You know what I'm saying? And so I honestly didn't start doing it regularly until you and James had us on that meditation and gratitude thing. Like I did meditate, but I never created a morning routine and said, I'm going to do this every day and I'm going to follow. But after that, it got your nephew onto it. He meditates. Well, he was meditating before, but he still does the same things. And I came across the paper that he was writing out something or whatever. Like, we had to write out these.
Yeah, we had to write all of that stuff.
Doing the assignments, you know what I'm saying? And that's but anyway, I think a morning routine is important now that I've actually had a chance to try a couple, you know what I mean? And it's really, at first you think, so let me give you a good example. If you're a person that is late all the time, right? I'm consistently late, but when I get there, I'm going to work circles around everybody, which is why when everybody's wondering, how come she gets to come in late all the time? At every job I've had, it's because I be working my ass off. But
because they're waiting for me.
I was about to say something totally inappropriate. Let me just back up. Okay, so I had to change my mindset on, because I used to think, especially when my son was little, I used to be like, y'all looking at me like, why am I just getting here? Y'all don't have to do the thing. I didn't say this to them, but I'm thinking in my head, y'all don't got to do any of the stuff that I have to do in the morning. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I looked at myself like, why are they fucking with me? You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. But then as my son got older, I was like, okay, well, now I got a little bit more time on my hands. What could I do? But when we did that challenge, that meditation and gratitude challenge, it was 21 days, right? That opened my eyes up to the fact that I wanted to do more self-care, and so I decided to do more of just taking time to myself. But so that was when I really first got serious about it, and then I just started looking stuff up about morning routines and seeing what people be doing, and it really is interesting when you start looking at like these get ready with me like videos, or people that do like sharing their morning routine or whatever, and it's like, damn, I only do this. This person do 15 things before they even start their day. And I was looking at it like, I want to be asleep. I want to be doing this. And then that causes you to rush around. If you're that late person, right? You're rushing around. You might forget something. It might be traffic or whatever. Anything can happen because you're not being proactive. You're being reactive. So I had to change my mindset on that. And so once I changed my mindset on that, I am not late as much as I used to be. I'm able to, because what you don't understand, people who don't feel like it matters, right? I just want to tell y'all this, is that you are taking time to set yourself up without the world's impressions, no news, no cell phones, or nothing like that. So just to stop rambling real quick, I'm just going to say my routine now that I consistently do, I can't list everything that I have in my routine because I don't actively do everything, which I am working towards including all of that stuff. Because sometimes, life shakes stuff up and you like,
yeah, for sure.
But the main thing that I do is when I first wake up in the morning, I don't care if the work phone's ringing. I don't care if I hear somebody calling or whatever, unless it's like you or mommy or somebody like that. But I don't do nothing before I take that first part of the morning to myself. It could even be only 15 minutes that I just, I do a prayer meditation session where I'm in gratitude, just kind of like affirming, saying affirmations and things like that. But I'm also just taking time to just kind of see how I feel. And then after that, I set my intention for the day. I'll write an affirmation and be like, that's what we're doing today. Or I'll write 10 things. I got this from another challenge that I was doing. I'll write 10 things that I'm grateful for, just in a grateful mood, because, once you start doing it, you realize how much of a choice it is. Because if something is happening that's stressing you out and you can't do anything about it, if the shit's going to happen anyway, why are you choosing to be mad about it? You can choose to be, feeling a certain type of way. And the way that you kick that off is you start to think of positive things, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. Like, that I don't have these things, or I don't have this, or I'm really like, I'm really stressed out about it. But your mind, if you keep it in a positive state, it's a little bit easier. And I know it sounds really crazy to people who haven't done it to see how it works. But it's when I tell you that when you get it, you're really going to get it. So anyway, the purpose behind the morning routine is that you are not letting the world program you. You're programming yourself so that whatever the world throws at you, you already like, nope, we got food in the house.
Nope.
Whatever it is, because it's crazy shit going on out here. Like, if you turn on the news or look at Twitter or whatever, somebody is dying every day. Like, so that's the first thing I thank the Lord for every morning is thank you for another day. And then I continue that list on. But so anyway, I'm rambling again. But back to the routine. I meditate. I have a prayer meditation session, and then I set my intention for the day. And after that, I have tea or whatever. And then after that, it gets crazy because I may or may not be able to do all of the things that I want to do. Like working out, to me, I used to make excuses and say I can only do it in the morning. But I had to come to the conclusion now that it doesn't matter when you can do it. You have to at least do it those 3 days. And now I do it in the evening, surprisingly. And that also helps boost your routine, boost your mood. So if you add that to your morning routine, that'd be good. But I don't even know what your original question was.
My original question you answered, which was great. It's about how your morning routine goes and how it flows into your overall day and energy. You really answered it.
Yes.
And so, okay, so now I'll say my piece.
Yeah, what's yours? Because
I'm gonna end off with that. I got 2 things to say about morning routines before that. First, I'll tell you what my theory is and then I'll tell you like some science because we've been studying this kind of stuff for years. And then I'll tell you the real deal. So, my theory, which you've heard before in other ways, in other conversations that we've had, is really that it's about energy, right? And like you're going to get up and you're going to go into your day and you're going to give all of these people who you encounter your energy. And if I think I used an analogy or something, an example one time about a cell phone where you have like 25% left on your cell phone or 15 or 10% or something. It's like you're only going to use it for things that are important because you're trying to save it. And if you spend too much of it, you know what I mean? Like you could just, once you get to that last 10% of your cell phone, you're really winging it there. But my point is this.
I can't believe that you're saying that because especially during the pandemic, I remember we were all in the house. Like y'all were home and then we were here. And I would be like, okay, we share apps so we know where everybody is.
Yes,
I would get these notifications that her and her husband had like 2% left. And I'm like, we're in the house.
What are they doing?
No, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah, well, that was the excuses because like I'm near my charger. Like, what's gonna happen? Who am I gonna call?
See, and then my philosophy behind that, I guess this is my mom brain because I'll be telling this to Earl all the time. I'll be like, yo, you should always keep your phone as charged as you can. And
because you just never know.
Like, if the power goes out, now you're stuck with whatever charge you have left. I mean, the chances of the power going out are slim to none, but we don't fucking know all this crazy
You're
shit.
absolutely right. But that's now why I keep power banks. I have like 2 or 3 power banks like ready to go. And them joints are always charged. So anyway, okay, let me say this. When I think about like, okay, you think about your day, you think about all of the people you're going to go give energy to. Obviously, if you have children, you're going to give some energy to them, family, husband, then you're going to go to work and you're going to pour. I'm thinking about you pouring out of your cup to all these different obligations that you have, all these different responsibilities. In your morning routine, in my opinion, my theory is that your morning routine is all about filling up your cup. Right? Like whatever it is that you need in order to have a good day, to build your energy, to build positive emotions and build like a sustainable mindset, you should do because now you're prepped, right? For the day. It was like one of those things where when I used to work in restaurants all the time, you got that first like 40 minutes when you get to the restaurant where you're just setting up. Right? You're getting ice, you're stocking plates and glasses, you're cutting lemons, because when those first few people walk through the door, it's fine. But then once that rush hits, if you don't have no ice or lemon or plates or glasses, everything's going to go awry. And then you're going to be giving bad service and you're going to be behind all day. And so that's kind of how I think about a morning routine. It's setting up for your day. And so that's my theory. Is that you're filling up your cup because you're getting ready to pour out of your cup all day. So if you never filled it up, you're kind of pulling out of an empty cup now. And that's why people get so angry and irritated throughout the day because they didn't give themselves what they needed.
I mean, it even goes like, throughout the day, meaning on your way to work, getting to work, coming home from work. Like if you find yourself with your face walled up all day long, you definitely need to take some time for yourself. And it could be anything. It don't even have to be nothing considered like luxury. It's just, listen, I need to sit by myself and get myself together. And I mean, to be completely honest, we're going to have this pep talk. So this is what we're about to do. We're about to go into the gym. We're about to go in here and kill it because we want a flat stomach and we want, Angela Bassett arms. You know what I'm saying? And so then, I mean, myself don't have nothing else to say back, but okay. All right. When we get in there and you start complaining, then I'm also still going to tell you we can do this. You know what I'm saying? But it's like a constant, you should be having these conversations with yourself because who's going to be your best hype man but you? Like, that's how I look at it. And like, even right before I go do something that has me anxious or whatever, Mel Robbins did not come up with the concept of the high five, but when she came up with the high five thing, dude, that right there is so crazy because everybody knows the high five is a universal sign for good damn job, right?
Mel Robbins is a beast.
Yo, and so
I
do
second
that.
one too. That was a good one.
And the Superman pose. Have you ever done the Superman pose?
I have done the Superman pose. Okay, wait, let me tell you too about this person. Hal Elrod wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. And he goes over the 6 things you should do in the morning, and he's acronymed them SAVERS. So it's silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribe, which is writing. And
I'm proud that I'm doing at least 4 of those things.
He did a lot of research before he, obviously while he was writing the book. And he was saying that like a lot of successful people, like millionaires and stuff, do these things. Like he just basically went and interviewed people in their morning routines and talked about with them their morning routines. And he was like, these are the 6 things that they basically all have in common. Mm-hmm. Or that I've heard the most. So then that got me like, oh, well, I'm going to do this until, obviously it takes more than that, but it's just like, of course I'm going to do this. Like one of the things I do. And then I'm going to go into what I actually do. One thing that I do every single day, no matter what, is make the bed. And that's just because, first of all, it just makes me feel good when I come in here and that I don't even know if that's in the book, honestly.
No, but that's something that a lot of people talk about.
A lot of people say millionaires make the bed. And so I was like, well, I at least got to do that, right? It's not like it's going to make a difference. But okay, but so let me tell you about the struggle bus of my morning routine. Hey, fourth quarter, because I'm getting ready to talk about you. So that's my husband. He does a great job with his morning routine, and it's almost annoying because there are times that I don't want to do my morning routine, and I don't want anybody on my back telling me you should be doing your morning routine. But like, I really had to I really had to say something to him a couple weeks ago because I was like, don't wake me up. I was like,
your face is probably just like that too.
I'm a responsible adult. I'm going to be where I need to be today. Don't you take it upon yourself to tap me on the shoulder and tell me you think I should be woke.
Snatch you out of your sleep.
Like, okay. But it's one of those things where like sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. He's way consistent with his morning routine. And most of the time my morning routine is like what gets me out of bed, also bringing Mel Robbins back up because she has this one thing where she's like, if you can't get out of bed, sliver out of bed. She does this whole thing. She rolls on the side of the bed, slivers, crawls to the bathroom. And I haven't done that yet, but I've had days where I felt like it, right? Like I felt like I was doing that. But so basically my ideal morning routine is to get up, put a warm cloth on my face, like a really like hot cloth on my face. That's like the best feeling. And that normally wakes me up. And then I'll, brush my teeth, do that whole thing. And then most of the time we're putting on our clothes. If it's a weekday, we're putting on our workout clothes and going either to the fitness center or to the gym that we go to. And that starts the day. And I love going to the gym. It just feels so good. Like even on the way there, we'll listen to some like 10-minute like Kobe Bryant motivational video or whatever. And then once I get in there and get my music on, it's done. And that like when I do my morning routine like that, and then we come back and we read the Bible, and because we do another podcast called Is It Crazy Is It God? So 4 times a week in the morning we read the Bible. Sometimes we wait and didn't get to it, and we only do it 2 or 3 times. But whenever I do all the things that I've scheduled to do, I feel so good. But it's so funny how I keep going back sometimes to the things that I know don't work. It's like I learned this lesson already. On the days that I don't do my morning routine, they're not as good as the days that I did my morning routine. Even the times I didn't want to do it and I did it anyway, those are almost better than when I wanted to do it.
It's the same thing with working out with what you said. Like I had I had 2 days this week, but really, really one especially that I didn't want to go work out. I was like, oh, I can skip today or whatever. And like all these things happened. And I was like, is that a sign I shouldn't go? Is that a sign I shouldn't go?
Right.
But I was really just trying to talk myself out of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's those days. That was one of the days where I didn't do my morning routine. And I mean, the reason why it makes you feel like that is because you lied to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it makes you feel like you lied to yourself because you told yourself you was going to do this.
You said you were going to do this, and you didn't show up for me.
In the back of your head, you're just like,
No, I feel you on that. I feel
like,
you on that.
Like that's the thing. Like, imagine if you just, like, this is how I look at it now. It is absolutely insane to wake up and look directly at the news or look directly at the phone. You have no idea what you're about to see. You're not prepared. You don't have any clothes on. Like, you need to do something to get dressed or like dress, because if the first post that you see is some horrible news, at least, the very least, you are already prayed up. You are already just, have already, patted yourself on the butt for the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Prepared yourself mentally.
It's still going to be bad news, but you're going to process it differently. Or you might make a decision not to look at the news first. You might make a decision to do something else. So this is
That's so funny, because think about it, especially now with social media. It's a challenge for me not to roll over and pick up my phone and look at social media or to watch the news. And I've recently gotten a lot better about, like, don't watch the news first thing in the morning. But I rarely am able to, it's Hal Elrod, HAL. I don't have chat function because I think I'm not logged in like an idiot.
Really?
But yeah, because I was just trying to chat and say hi, Gwendolyn. I was trying to chat earlier. I need to log in next tape. Elrod, ELROD. And the book is called Miracle Morning. And then we also talked about Mel Robbins. And she wrote The 5-Second Rule, which was the first book I read by her. She's bomb. She also has a bomb TED Talk where she talks about the 5-second rule. And then she has the High Five Habit. And those are both good. So anyway, here's the deal. When what was I even talking about? I just got so excited about that.
Hold on, I'm typing this.
Oh no, I feel you. Well, anyway, about morning routines, this is what I was saying about the news. So about the news and about social media, it's so hard for me to not engage in that. When if you think about, like, when you were in high school or something, I mean, for us, because we didn't have social media in high school, we had like Instagram, or not Instagram, we had AOL
chat rooms, but everybody didn't
have to like log in and get the
you had to hit a little dial-in thing, but the thing about that was everybody didn't have a computer. You could only do that if you had a computer. Now everybody got a phone in their hand. Everybody. You know what I'm saying?
So, but it's crazy. It's crazy that we give that much energy to social media, and we don't even think about the fact that it could affect our day or affect our mindset in a negative or positive way. It's just like we're just looking for, I guess, the dopamine of like information or just getting engaged in community or whatever. But I just feel like that's one of the things that's challenging me that I'm going to get better at, moving forward, is just, protecting my energy and building up my filling my cup before I start doing stuff like that. I literally have gotten better in these past few months, specifically in these past 2 to 3 months. I've just had a different routine, but I can always get better. And so even though I explained that whole Savers thing on like how you should do your mornings, and there's so much science behind it. There's even this guy, Joe Dispenza, who talks about brain science, and he talks about, all of this stuff. I know I have all this information, right? But it's still a challenge.
I think that we also need to make that be one of our topics, one of those, because we watch a lot of different motivational videos. That's another thing. I don't watch okay, so I'll say this. I do like trashy TV, okay, and trashy YouTube. I love trashy YouTube. I be in the bushes, I be watching everything, I see what's going on. But I most of my day when I'm watching YouTube and stuff, I'm looking up how to do this, who's interviewing who, and I'm looking at these motivational things. And when I go to sleep at night, I definitely put on some like Lewis Howe interview, or maybe like David Shands or something like that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, something's echoing here.
No, I'm with you on that.
So yeah, but yeah, I definitely think that has a lot to do with what you're doing. what the decisions that you're making, because you're not feeding yourself constant negative stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, sometimes I turn the TV, like if I'm in the kitchen and the channel changes or some video comes on and I feel like it's not the right spirits, I'd be like, oh, let me get that off my TV. Like back in the day, all my old heads gonna remember this, when we used to have like BET and all that stuff used to run, MTV used to run the good shows that we watched. There was this man, I can't even remember what channel it was on, but it was this like pastor dude that used to come on in the middle of the night. It was a commercial though, but he would be like, you know, wailing and screaming or whatever. I'd be like, get out.
Oh my gosh. I
can't even remember who that is saying, but it was just real demonic, and he was, you know, to me. But if something come on TV like that, so anyway, I said all that to say, I kind of watch what I do. Now, like I say, I like drama, TV, trashy YouTube. But I think that, like you were saying, like overall, you just have to be the first one to greet yourself. Like the first person you see when you go into an establishment, that person's going to kind of help set the tone for how you do this establishment. If they were rude or whatever, you could probably get over it if you end up staying and having a nice experience, but that whole negative experience is going to stick with you on that. You know what I'm saying? So like, absolutely, there's no way that I'm going to turn on the TV before I pray, meditate, get me right. You know what I'm saying? And tell myself what kind of day I'm going to have, especially not like the Instagram or Facebook. You might see anything. I need to be prepared. You know what's funny? I need to be prepared.
You know what's funny? Like, I think we don't really pay attention to what that is. Like, I think we don't really give credence to that. The fact that, like, we're letting everyone in. Right? Like, I don't think we don't really pay attention. It's like we know it. We have these conversations, but I mean, we're going to forget too. It's like you just are curious about what's out there, but you don't realize you're putting yourself, like, now you're stepping into the street. You know what I mean? Like, so it is what it is. But you know,
I'm not even going to like say anything that you could see, because I feel like that is triggering. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the stuff that I see, I be like, oh, I didn't want to look at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then like, you can't unsee it.
People put anything on the internet these days, and people be sharing anything these days. And sometimes people don't have the wherewithal to be like, this person I shouldn't help this person see this. Like, why would I
know? And then the things, even though I feel like people have good intentions or not bad intentions, like, you know, like people call out the Shade Room all the time, or like Hollywood Unlocked or whatever, but I think, you know, they serve a purpose too, because they give that, you know, they're telling people stories, but sometimes, not even sometimes, probably like once every other day, I'll come across a really, truly disturbing story. Like, so-and-so got their hand stuck in a this, or right. And it's just like, what? How does that even happen? And I start imagining it, or like,
and you don't even need to be thinking about that.
And 20 years ago, I would have never known that monkeys were beating up people and killing them.
Yo, I didn't. Okay, so since you said that, the thing is it Japan that was happening with monkeys kidnapping people, dragging people up? That's crazy. But it's a bunch of crazy stuff happening right now that I didn't think that I would be saying. A bunch of crazy stuff is happening because crazy stuff has been happening. But okay, so
we just weren't exposed to it. But here's the point, and then we're gonna move on. Here's the point: is that we wouldn't be exposing ourselves to that information first thing when you get up in the morning.
Absolutely not.
But that was setting up your day.
That's why I think it's important that people need to understand that it doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be a meditator. You don't have to be a prayer. You don't have to do any of that stuff that I named that I do. You just need to be the first person that pours into you. Like you said, you fill your cup first. But the funny thing I was about to say is I watched, I don't know if I sent you this video, but there was this dude on a boat with these people, and he was doing something to the shark or whatever, and the shark got his pinky. And so he was like, oh, and the shark started turning or whatever, and he's trying to get his hand out or whatever, and he was like, oh, fuck, he got my pinky. Fuck.
Oh, and he just came away without his pinky?
I was like, first of all, that's what you get for messing with that shark, and he had to show you who was boss. But then I started thinking about how he was going to be telling this story.
Oh, you'll never get it back.
how'd
And
you
then
lose your
some
pinky? I
shark
was being
somewhere
a
in the
dick
deep,
and messing with something in its own habitat.
somewhere in the deep, somewhere lies your pinky. And it's like, you know, that
That joke
sobering
funny
moment when you realize shit'll never be the same.
at all.
Right?
And oh my god, man! I had to
You'll never
watch
see
it a
that
couple times,
pinky again.
but it's not always stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. It's a lot of different stuff on the internet, and we just need to. People need to treat themselves better. And actually, it sounds cliche when you say all these things, whatever, but you do need to like be your own best friend. Like treat yourself how you would want somebody to treat you. And because we lie to ourselves because we're doing work for this company and we don't have time to start our own businesses, or which I think is also kind of, anyway, we'll get into that another time. But we lie to ourselves. We'll do everything for everybody else before we buy for ourselves.
Yeah.
You have to stop putting yourself last, because like the plane analogy, I can't help you if I don't help me first. So
Yes.
I really understand that now. I really am starting to get it now. And I'm just like, I'm different. I'm not even the same. I don't even think the same as I did before. And it's all about mindset. But I could go on and on about that. But what I really,
this is going to be an ongoing topic because we have so much more to talk about in that front. But let me go ahead into what our main topic is tonight, because I cannot wait to hear your thoughts about this. I'm about to get lost in your thoughts. So there's a documentary about Kanye West, and it's called JEEN-YUHS. It's not spelled the way that genius is normally spelled. It's spelled JEEN-YUHS.
Absolute facts. Okay.
So okay, you said you were late to the party. I have to admit that I was also late to the party because I think this came out earlier this year, but I don't remember when. And when I first started watching it, I couldn't stop. Like, it was a work day. And luckily, through the magic of working from home, I was able to have it up on my screen while I was doing my work. And there were several times where I just had to like stop working and watch the screen, because one of the genius things about this, no pun intended.
I think it was like 6 months ago.
One of the amazing things about this documentary, one of them, is that I lived through this. So this footage is like 20 years old. And I remember these times. I didn't know this stuff was happening.
I was going to say, bro, I didn't even know all this stuff was going on. But I knew it was going on, right?
But it's so funny to look at.
I remember the songs, but I'm like, dang, that's what they was doing.
Oh, so I have a whole...
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to let you go ahead and start.
Yeah, let me just say this, because I want to apologize to Kanye, because I made a comment last week about his teeth, about how he didn't invest in his teeth. Now, I want to take that back, because Main Man invested in his teeth, okay? And I didn't even get to the end part to see whatever decision he made last or whatever, but I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't want nobody else to do shit else. Just leave me like this. So I remember he had the accident and everything, but I was, I should not have said that last week, because I'm going to be like, for real right now. I didn't know. Okay.
That's so funny.
I just wanted to take that off the table, but I really, 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 I just started watching it this morning. I was like, oh shit. When you said that you was going to watch an episode of Love and Marriage, I was like, oh, let me go watch the Genius jump. So I was like, all right, at least I can get the first episode in. Well, I watched it and I said, oh, I gotta go to the second episode. And I literally stopped watching it right before we got on here. There's so much in that. Like, there's so much in that. And you're right. We lived through it. I didn't know it was going on, but like, we knew the songs. We knew these people, you know what I'm saying? But I will say, I didn't know who Kanye was until like right before The Wire. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know what he looked like, but I remember when H to the Izzo came out. Yeah. I was back home because I went to Atlanta for like a year and a half, and I came back home, and because September 11th, Jay-Z's Blueprint dropped. And I remember being really excited about that album. And me and my friends were like, driving up to Baltimore, going to the clubs and stuff. And we would always be bumping that album. And I remember H to the Izzo. And I remember like distinct conversations about like, who produced this music? Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I did know of him.
Well, I don't
I had
expect
no
you not
idea
to,
who
because
he was.
you
I'd
were
never
working in the
seen his
studio,
face.
so you kind of probably had a different thought about it to even look stuff like that up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was probably it was one of my friends that we were like really into music and band and stuff. So we, I did know who he was just off the strength of like, oh, see, I didn't know that either. But just off the strength of like when H to the Izzo specifically came out, and when that whole album dropped, I was like, who we said like who produced this? So I knew his name, but I didn't know who he was until 2003. It was like November of 2003 when it's way flash forward when Through the Wire came out, and I remember thinking like, who is this person? Like, this is really catchy, or this is really cool, or whatever. But anyway, I want to just mention a couple of things before we get started talking about this. This is a documentary that was the footage was captured over like a 20-year span, and it was not Kanye's documentary. In fact, it was one of his friends who it was a guy at the time who had become one of his friends who was taking a lot of this footage. And when this documentary was first being, promoted to air, Kanye was actually not about it. He wanted to have the final approval on it. And the producers of it said, like, no, you can't do that. It wouldn't be true to what a documentary is if you're just going to come in here and say this can be aired, this can't. Right, this is our project. This is our project. And so, because one of the first things I thought to myself was like, why did it take so long to put this out? And then, like, who has this much like focus to be doing something for 20 years? But then once I started watching it, I was like, this is genius, because I remember this, and like to see some of the stuff that was happening behind the scenes, it was unbelievable, but it was very inspirational. So one thing I want to start out with, and I know I'm going to let you take the floor, was that damn retainer. I want to give that retainer a name. I haven't come up with one yet, but I want to name the retainer because there were several times where I was like, why is he putting his retainer in his pocket, on the thing, on the this? And then I was so happy.
Well, okay, let's say it wasn't COVID, right?
Right.
But I did write that down. Like, that Bama was putting those retainers everywhere.
He's a dude. He's a dude. Do stuff like that. But
I
was so glad.
Do it now, because
I was so glad though when Scarface was like, that doesn't belong there. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm so glad somebody said something about that. But anyway, that's not here today. That's just a funny little thing. But like, okay, tell me your initial thoughts and what you went through when you were watching it.
Say hi to Craig.
Hey, Craigums.
Anyway, okay, now that that's over with. Okay, just go to sit in the back, Craig. Get you late. But yeah, so first of all, I want to say my overall. So I haven't watched the third episode yet, but I got almost through episode 2. But I want to say my overall feeling about it is I think that it was very inspirational, or is, because I'm not finished watching it. I did. One of the things that stand out to me overall right now is like, belief is a motherfucker. Like, when you see this Bama, when you first see them, talk to him when he was standing with Mace, what? I was like, dang, this Bama was around for a minute. But, so my overall thought of it is that, it's a lot. That's a lot that I feel like I learned. Even though I knew all of the stuff that was going on, like I heard about it here and there or whatever. Like, weren't in the studios with them. So it's good to see that back, like you said, backstage or behind the scene footage, especially when you get to see some of the people who like we all loved back then as well. You know what I'm saying? Like Mos Def, my husband. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What? Okay, so let's go here.
But anyway, so my overall was that I love it. So far, I want to get to the end, and I kind of learned a little bit about Kanye.
I learned a lot about Kanye, and just going off of your whole scope on belief, there's people who we it was so crazy to see what was happening behind the scenes. There's people who we knew of who were like on back then, and to see the way that they were moving, and it wasn't even like because you gotta think, here's this kid from Chicago who's carrying his camera around, and they didn't take him like seriously like that. They're like, "Where's my beats?" And
a couple of times he did come off like he was just like that person just trying to get on and trying to rap.
Just like, go get me some coffee, kid. Like,
and that's how Dame Dash even admitted that. Yeah, Dame Dash even admitted that he was like, just make the beats, kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wasn't really taking him seriously, so he literally had to fucking prove himself or whatever.
And to think about, sorry, go ahead.
So the last thing I'll say is before I let you have the floor again is that it's funny how some of these people, kind of thought they were above him back then, even though they didn't say it. But now his net worth is worth more than all of theirs. I'll just name a few to get started.
Okay, go ahead.
So Kanye's net worth is $2 billion, right? Kim Kardashian's is 1.8. Now I know his is probably boosted because he was with Kardashian, right? But who knows? We're talking about what's happening now. Pharrell's net worth is $200 million, which is far cry from $2 billion.
Significantly less. Significantly less.
Jay-Z's net worth is $1.3 billion. Still far away from $2 billion, but hey, we're talking about billions here. So Rihanna's is $1.4 billion. So she's over Jay-Z, but she's still under Kanye.
That's because of this stuff right here.
And she's the youngest. Yeah, she's doing good. She's winning. But then I looked up A$AP Rocky for some reason. I don't know. I guess because he's with Rihanna. Yeah. I looked him up, but his net worth is $2.9 billion. I was like really shocked about that, right? But I'm like, damn, him and Rihanna winning like shit because Beyonce's net worth is only $350 million.
I don't think A$AP Rocky has that much money. Does he?
Let me look it up again.
I don't know. Because what is he? I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I could be wrong. I just am thinking, I just looked them all up. Well, listen, I completely agree with all the others. That one just sounds a little funny to me. But look, if he's got it like that, he's good. He's good.
In 2021, his net worth was $2.9 billion.
That's wow. Okay. I did not know that about that young man. Now, here's the thing about these other people who some of which you named.
Now, I will say this. I don't know how credible these sources are from the internet. It's the internet, guys, but this is what comes up when you Google it.
No, I definitely think for sure. I actually think Kanye actually has more money than that because of some of the things that he has his money in. But I agree. I agree to the scale of those numbers, right? Like, I think that's probably pretty accurate as far as like.
But I just think it's funny how those people weren't really ready to jump on, and now they must be sitting back looking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. And so this is one of the things that I wanted to bring up is that these people who were like sort of like cool in the gang, sort of like what, not the real cool in the gang, but like they had these videos and they were doing all these things. Now you're at the part, because I saw the whole documentary, but you're at the part, I believe, where he, got his chain, but they still haven't released his album yet.
So I just watched where he was premiering the Jesus Walk video, and then Dame Dash came in, and that's when he was saying that he didn't have, like, right before he came in, he was saying that he didn't have a marketing budget or nothing or release date, but that got him the release date.
Right. Okay. So
that's the part that I'm at.
He hasn't released the Through the Wire video yet.
That happened before that.
Oh, okay.
So, because October 23rd, 2002 is right when he had the accident. That was a week before Earl was born. So I was like, I remember when Through the Wire came out later, because I remember Mike, remember Mike? Mike had something happen to Mike, and he got his jaw. He
I
had
remember
his
that.
jaw wired, and that song was out. And I remember teasing him all the time about that song, or whatever. Because
I remember that. I do remember that because I was really worried about him. Here's the thing. I just can identify with the idea that you have this big idea, or really you have a big idea of who you are, what you have to provide, and no one else can really see it, but you know it's in there. And so like he's walking around amongst these people who, I'm not saying they're insignificant people now, but I'm saying that they had no idea who they were talking to or the potential of the person who they were talking to. They only knew him for what they could get from him. They only knew that like, oh, he makes beats. Where's my beat? Right? It's just like you're talking to this person like they're less than a person because you need something from them. And now come to find out everything that he said was true. And I'm just so glad that there's footage because here's what I love. Here's what I love about watching this.
That was genius.
Here's what I love about watching this. You could never, there were things in this that people would never remember or admit to or any of that. When he's walking around these offices and trying to like play his music for people, and they're just kind of like, okay, yeah, are you done?
I mean, just think about how they are right then. Think about the moment
that never.
Well, because think about it, right? You're in the studio and you're trying to lay your track. Here comes somebody who didn't pay for time like you paid for time, who may not be as hot as you, and they're trying to get some of your time. You know what I'm saying? So like I can see how I can understand what they were looking at, but then at the same token, you know, knowing how the business works, anybody could be in those studios. You need to be checking to see, you know, maybe this person got something that I could be the first person to discover. Like that's if you're a businessman, but like, you know, they were all young too. A lot of them were young too. You know what I'm saying? But when he got Pharrell to listen to that song, that was one of my favorite parts right there because they were also, you know, it's something about the way Kanye be in the bob when he bobs his head. Like I feel like he, you know, he is the only one. Like he sees the vision. He knows, can you make those pictures speed up a little bit? Can you do this? Can you do that? And he has, you know, it's been in him clearly from the footages they were showing about him rapping as a kid. When he said that little rap at the family thing or whatever, and then
with the little polka dot shirt,
bruh, that was fire. I was like, yo, like it's that kind of stuff that you notice like early on that people ignore sometimes, right? And you got to like feed that, you know what I mean? His mom noticed because she was on his side. That's the same thing. You know, I try not to like go back to my son a lot, but you know, everybody feels special about their child, but you know, when you look at your child and you see a passion in them, you got to use what you know to be able to open up avenues for him or them or whatever I feel like she did that or whatever, but you know, clearly he's a very talented person. You know what I'm saying? Like he can do. Whoever said he could do everything, like he can do all his shit that he needs to do to make it happen because he had to do it to show everybody.
I think that was Pharrell. He was like, you could do all the stuff. You don't need a producer. You don't need this. You don't need that.
So, I'm sorry, Faith. I wanted to tie that into that comment that James said or whatever. Jay-Z saw potential in Kanye and Riri. Now, I agree to a certain extent because I feel like back when he saw Kanye, I feel like he was less like he was when he met Riri, right? I feel like, you know, he probably looked at Kanye as like, oh yeah, he the hot man for the beats or whatever, but they didn't accept him as a rapper, you know, like, you know, it was like he said, you just saying like I'm a kid rapper or I'm a whatever.
You're
just trying to make it up pretty much or whatever. You're not really giving it the respect.
I
feel like, you know, by the way that they did him without giving him that market thing, I think that showed everything. Like y'all are really, y'all was tripping. Y'all
are sleeping with me.
Somewhere it was low key hating to me. That's how I feel.
I don't even know if it's really okay. So let me say this. I got to go back to Dr. Donda West. Because I've always loved her. Like when she was alive, like I always got this energy from her. I've never met her in person, but like her smile and her just like just the essence of her. Like I always just was a fan of her. I still couldn't explain it. I don't know if you remember this, but like on one Mother's Day, she had written a book, and I bought that book and I gave it to you. It's called Raising Kanye. And I just have always been a fan of her. And watching this documentary got me so emotional about her, because not so emotional, I wasn't like crying or whatever, but like it just reminded me of her spirit. Like she was I just felt like she was so cool, and you could tell that she poured into him. And like, listen, here's the thing. You know when somebody is, you know, a nice person or a kind person, and you know when you encounter a special person, right? It doesn't have to be your son. It doesn't have to be your daughter. It doesn't have to be your cousin. Like, we're all dealing with all of our own issues, and we deal with a bunch of regular ass people every single day. But you know when you encounter somebody who's special. You do, like, you know, you work with people who are special, and they might not stand up and say they're special, but like you just vibe with them. You just know that, like, oh, you're this, like I can feel it from you. And it's not something that they have to go and be all rah-rah about, but you just know that. And I feel like she was definitely one of those people, but she poured into him and had him believe in himself, and all that information and stuff that he has, it was because of her information. So I just really appreciated her. I just got to give that shout out, first of all, because that was one of my favorite things about this documentary, is that I kind of felt like I got to see what I already knew about her up close. And it was more amazing than I even thought. And I was just, I'm going to watch it. This is not the last time I'm watching this. I love this thing, but I feel like, you know, beyond even, I love watching him in this too. Like, I think it's awesome. But watching her is like such a joy for me, because it's like, I knew you were that person, but like, it's so funny. It's so funny to watch her.
Yeah, you can tell they had a good relationship and stuff too. Like that is one of the reasons why I think that, you know, that her passing really probably did affect him really bad. You know what I'm saying? But
for sure. And I don't think that's covered until the third part. But okay,
yeah, I haven't got to that part yet. I mean, I just know it happens. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
one of the things that I really liked that he said in here, like I liked a lot of stuff that he said, because he spoke a lot of stuff into existence. You know what I mean? And it's all about how much you believe yourself. Like, nobody, you know, that's why a lot of people don't do stuff, because they let people who can't do it for whatever reason tell them they can't do it, which really both of y'all probably could do it if one of y'all wasn't a hater. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
if
so,
you
like,
believe in yourself.
You believe in yourself, you know, and it sounds so cliche. I know. But I cannot really, you know, say it any other way. Like, you have to be the first person to hype yourself up in the morning, because that is the start of you to be able to unlock your greatness. Because when I tell you that it's certain things that I've done up to now that I don't even know how I did it. I just was like, well, shit, let me just try to do it. And then once I tried to do it, I miraculously, not even miraculously, because this is like the case, but everything that I needed along the way, I had it. Even if it was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. When I get to the other side and look back, oh, we did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how we did it, but we did it. You know what I mean? And he had this strong belief, even when he said, I was getting to the part where I said one of his favorite things, when he said, I got big dreams, motherfucker. I was like, yes. And then there was another part where he said, I used to walk to the train and practice my Grammy speech. I said, that is you got to believe in yourself, because like, that is so, like, you know, so many other things to think about if you have to walk to the train to get where you're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, you thinking about a Grammy speech for work you haven't even done yet. You know what I'm saying? So
here's the thing.
No, I'm just saying that.
Let me say this. Here's the thing that I just want to almost flatten for humanity, is that he wasn't some, and I'm talking about him like he's posthumous, whatever, but like he's alive. But it wasn't something that just happened for him and like, oh, we witnessed this magic and he's so, you know, also Tarek, and you know, no, you just witnessed somebody following a formula of saying what you're gonna do, not being able to sleep because you gotta just try a little bit harder tonight, right? Like, there's this lyric that he had talking about doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers, right? Like, that's the type of hunger. So it was like, it was like no way he was never gonna make it, because he was gonna have to get better. Also, I just also want to point out this, and this is gonna be sort of controversial, especially for other people who might be Kanye fans, because I am a Kanye fan. But he's not like he can never do any wrong in my eyes. But here's the thing. Knowing what I know about music, you know, he would probably even say it. He wasn't the best. He definitely was not the best rapper. And there were some times when he was rapping for people and he lost them. He's become a phenomenal rapper, probably because of the practice that he put in, because of the confidence that he had in him, because of the I'm not going to give upness that was in him.
I mean, yeah. Just like when he said, I didn't just automatically, come and do College Dropout or whatever, or not College Dropout. He said, I didn't automatically just do H to the Izzo, like, saying work up to, he been doing that or whatever. But that's the thing that I mean, it's really even a lot more simpler than following a formula. Really, all it is that you prepare, not even prepare, you just show up for yourself and you try. Shit don't even gotta be perfect, because I'm pretty sure it was a bunch of nights when he didn't know he was gonna stay, he didn't know what he was gonna eat, he didn't know if he was gonna get in the studio after he went to wherever he was gonna go. He didn't know any of that shit was gonna work out. But what happens is, if you just believe that you could do it, and then you try to do it, you might fail, but on that little journey, you might meet somebody that can help you try again in a different way. Or you might, he like it was like, how there's a movie or whatever, I think it's the Boss Baby or something. But anyway, you guys have all seen a cartoon where there's those little I-beams that the cranes are moving, and the baby's crawling across the I-beam, but it just so happens to connect every time he needs to cross before he falls. That is exactly what happens when you try to do something that you may once think is so difficult that you can't do it. Because like I said, I can't tell you how many times I've just said, this is what needs to happen. I'm going to put myself in position, but I don't even know if I'm going to do it or not. But I'm going to be standing in my position when it's time for me to do the thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I did that shit with kickball. It was games that I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to be doing, certain times or whatever. If it was just so much speed on the other team and I'm not as fast as the people, whatever, I don't know. But it was times where I fucking got the ball to first before the fucking person that was faster than me could run there. You know what I'm saying? So I had to adapt. But then it's like with him, with Kanye, it's like he did not know any of how everything was going to go down. If this Bama had to borrow studio time, go ask people to hear songs that he wrote, figure out how to do the song, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he had all of the things that he needed to get where he was going to go. So it's like fear. It's nothing but fear that's keeping people, including me, from doing certain things, because you feel like you need to know everything up front. You really don't. You just need to know that.
And look, let me say this too. People are going to look, even if you think people are looking at you the way that they were looking at him when he was walking through those offices playing this album. He just did not care. He was just like, I'm going to do it. And the thing about it is, like, he could have easily just given up and said, like, you know what, I'm just going to do these beats because it's easier and people won't look at me crazy. But to dare to dream, to say, I want to do this. And even beyond that, and you'll see this in the next part where he says, like, I want to get into fashion. I want to do this. And this is not a perfect person. In fact, he has real issues that we've seen played out right in front of our eyes. But it doesn't matter, because he just committed himself to this dream and he has this extreme confidence. One of the things I want to point out about it is this, and I don't even attribute this to him, I attribute this to his mom, is the idea of instilling confidence in a person. I think we're seeing real time with him and the way his personality has grown to be this sort of like, media, like, they would call it a catastrophe, but I almost look at it like an experiment. I almost feel like Dr. Donda West said, like, what if I poured all the confidence into this young Black man? And yeah, he's from Chicago, and yeah, 60% of them get shot and killed or go to jail. But what if I just did this? Let's see what happens. And this is what you get, right? Somebody who's just like, oh, well, I want to do beats. And she's like, oh, I'll get you a set. You go and do your beats, young man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because all the confidence in. So I feel like, what's the problem with that?
I agree with that, but I think that it takes a specific kind of person to approach the parenting that way. because I chose to, kind of do this, not the same thing like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, I'm not Kanye's mom, but
I think you did in a way.
I chose
obviously, Earl doesn't struggle with the same things Kanye.
Well, no, that's not where I'm going with it. I'm just saying
I didn't mean to say his name either.
I think it's fine. I think that it takes a certain type of person to realize that you can do something different, and it starts with your parent, because, like I said in another video, the adult that you become is, it has everything to do with how you process whatever your upbringing was, because you learned how to do all the things that you know how to do. Then, yeah, you can change some stuff, but you have to actively, recognize stuff to change it. So once you decide, okay, I'm not going to do this way, I'm going to see what happens with this, and you instill that confidence over anything else. That means that if the confidence sticks, then this person can do anything. But I mean, it sounds so cliche, but it really is true.
No, I believe it.
I think, like you said, when you have a special person. And when I was looking at the documentary, like I said, the stuff that made me know that, or confirmed it for me, wasn't anything that he's done these days. It was looking at him back when he was a little kid. I was like, oh shit, if y'all didn't see that then, like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But, then you have to add in traumas and who's around the person and all that. Like, she probably had her own issues that she was struggling with. Obviously, she wrote the book or whatever. But I mean, just like as a person getting up to go to work, and you have to feed your kids and you have to do this, it's commendable that she was able to be the way that she was. You know what I mean? But like, you do have some people who, they don't have even the wherewithal to be able to carry anything like that out, because their outside circumstances might, jump in. But like, I loved it so far, and I don't think that I'm going to change my mind by watching the third episode. I think
you won't. It's only going to enlighten you more. Like, literally, I watched
it right on what we would be talking about too. Like,
I literally watched it twice. I feel like we're going to have to do a part 2, because there's so many things that I'm going to go back and watch it again, because I have like
I got to watch the last 8 minutes, and then I'm going to watch the last one, and then I guess we can touch on this next week or whatever, because I definitely, I didn't mean to keep cutting you off or whatever. I felt so like, I felt inspired by it, and it's like a lot of stuff that I just, I could just see a lot of stuff that wasn't said. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was just like, that is exactly what it takes, because even sitting here talking about belief, it's not saying that I have the same kind of belief that he has, because like, we doubt ourselves on stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've talked myself out of starting a bunch of businesses, or doing a bunch of different things that I probably didn't think that I could do. But if I would have just believed that I could do it, who knows where I would have been with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the thing, and that's just the thing. It's so easy. It's so much easier than asking somebody, what did you do to get here? Because one, you're not me and I'm not you. So what worked for me may not work for you. So even if I give you, like the dude that was hating on him or whatever, in the beginning,
the Don got Doug.
Yeah, like people are jealous in the industry of, people that are getting shine and stuff like that. But like, if you really recognize this person is talented, like, for you to even think anyway. But my point is,
let's talk about that real quick. I noticed that, and I watched it twice, like I said. So the second time I watched it, I was like noticing things based off of what I had already seen. Mm-hmm. And when he went to that conference in Chicago, he wasn't even on yet as a rapper. He was just a famous, or a well-known producer. Mm-hmm. And when he walked up to that table and he was trying to give love and be like, hey, be in my documentary. When he walked up to the table, the looks on the people's faces, and I did notice that the first time I saw it, but I didn't understand it. The looks on the people's faces were the look of when you walk up to somebody and they've just been talking about you, and they can't hide it. Like some people can. Some people can act like they never even,
but if you in tune,
but the whole group cannot hide it. And I think what had happened was, and then the guy, the other guy who was there when they ended up confronting him, said something like, no matter what happens from this time on. And I was like, yeah, that was confirmation. They had just finished probably saying, I'm just all the way out there like your mom right now. They had probably just finished saying, who does he think he is? Like, you taught him how to do that, and he needs to do this and this and that, because it was like that same like weekend that whole thing happened where he was on the radio talking about Kanye and doing a hate record on him, and it's just like, he's not even a rapper.
I thought it was the same day. I got to go back and watch it.
It might have been the same day. I said the same weekend because I wasn't sure.
And even how he handled
I think he had on the same sweater. And knowing what I know about Kanye, he's not a same sweater kind of dude in the next day. Yeah. So you're right. He was probably the same day.
But
he was so confused and he was so hurt. That's
what I'm saying. Even how he handled that. It's something genuine about being genuine. Like just saying that you hurt my feelings, or saying that, or showing, just kind of like, or not popping off like somebody would, because anybody else, it would have been done. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he probably, I don't know. I looked up his net worth as well, but it's not really worth mentioning.
I've never heard of him before.
He got a little 10.5 million.
I had never heard of that guy before I saw him.
Funny saying little. That's hilarious.
But I mean, listen, we're getting ready to let me just.
But no, so yeah, I don't. Okay, so I've got to watch the rest of it. And we could talk about that again. But I really did enjoy it, and so I'm sorry that I'm late to the party. But that joint was really good.
It was good. Okay, so we're gonna have Kanye Genius Part 2, the Kanye trilogy. We're gonna talk about that next week. All right. So then, one last thing I want to end on is, it's a lot of crazy stuff out there happening these days. People getting stuff put on their cars. I just wanted to, I thought about you the other day because I went to go drive up. I went to the Giant and I went to go like park, and it was a great parking space like near the grocery store, but it was right next to a white van, and it was on the side you have to slide out. And I was like, no, I'll park over here. It's like, never park next to a white van. So you had said something about watching surroundings.
Yeah, like I've been seeing all these. I know you probably seen, since I think I sent you a couple of like Instagram posts where women were talking about, like one girl was talking about being poisoned by somebody putting a napkin on her car, and somebody else was talking about, a flyer, or somebody else had posted something about, and I seen this one years ago, but don't let nobody walk up to you saying, smell my perfume. Like it's supposed to be like some drugs that'll knock you out. And then they have other people that will be ready to take you wherever it is they want to take you and make you be like Handmaid's Tale or whatever. But so anyway, I just think that everybody needs to have their head on a swivel and watching their surroundings, because you just never know what's going on.
Yeah.
Even if it's something like just that seems weird, like pay attention to your gut. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And I would rather be suspicious and look stupid being suspicious than to look stupid, in a van somewhere.
So let me tell you how I did the same thing on Monday. I looked stupid because I felt like how dude was acting was suspicious. But here's what happened. Y'all can tell me if I'm crazy or not. But so I go to the grocery store, and it's probably like 9:45, right? And normally I only go during the daytime, but I don't really think, people would not do nothing in the daytime. You know what I mean? I remember when I was like 9 years old, some lady tried to grab my arm. Mommy was getting the car, or she must have sent me back in the store or something, but she was parked right in front of the store, not even in a parking space. And I think I had to go back and get bread or something, but I was coming out, and this white lady was like, come over here with me. And I looked at her like, no. And I ran to the car or whatever. But, and then mommy said she got in the car with some dude and they drove off or whatever. But, she always let her tell it, I was about to get snatched. But so here's what happened Monday. I go into the grocery store. Normally, Earl comes in with me, but this night I was only getting a couple of things and I was just running in. And so I went in there, and when I walked up, they have those like little cement posts in front of the door, I guess to keep anybody from running their cars into it or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was this dude standing by one. He was looking at his phone, like regular dude, some khakis and a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? He looked clean enough, right? He didn't look like he was homeless or anything, or like, he didn't look out of sorts. He just looked like some random dude standing in front of the store on his phone. And so I noticed him, and then I realized in my mind, okay, I'm about to walk on over to the side or whatever. So when I got over there, he was like leaning on the post, looking at his phone. And he was like, "How you doing?" I was just like, "Fine, finding you," and kept walking, right? Because I was like, okay, now I'm thinking, now I gotta fucking, tell you, no, I'm not giving you any money or whatever when I come out, because I know how they be doing or whatever. So anyway, I go in and I get a basket, and like right when I said finding you, kept walking, and I looked in the camera going into the store, because I was like, this motherfucker coming in the store after I'm coming in the store, but I saw that he was still leaning over the cement post. So I was like, okay, whatever. At that point, I was just like, I'll just have to be like, I don't have any money, right? If he asked, like, if he was asking for money. But then so I walked through the store and everything. And so about 3 minutes into the store, and this is kind of probably how, this is how I feel like, you manifest certain things that you don't need to manifest, because if it's not something that's for your good, you shouldn't be going through all the scenarios of how it happened. Yeah, how it's going to happen. Yeah, you need to have a plan to get out if an emergency happens. But like, I was walking through the store thinking like, he's going to appear at the end of the aisle somewhere, and then I'm going to be like, this motherfucker's following me. And lo and fucking behold, I'm walking through the store, and I looked down as I was walking past the aisles, and he's standing, not walking. He's standing in the front of the store, just looking at his phone. His legs were kind of like not just standing there. He had them like spread a little bit, like he was just standing there looking at his phone. So I thought it was weird, but then I was like, you're tripping, because the store is a free place, a public place. People can go anywhere. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and get the shit I need to go so I can get out of here. I had to go to the back of the store, and I was like, let me make sure I hurry up and go to the back, because I didn't want to get stuck in an aisle with him, because I didn't know what was going on.
What is he doing?
To me, it was like, okay, nothing's happening right now, right? But I still felt like you thought that for a reason. So get your shit, right?
Yes, instincts, my friend.
Then I thought about it. I said, well, I could text Earl and be like, come in the store. But I was like, I'm not going to do that. Nothing's happened, right? And so I was like, all right, so I'll go get what I needed to get. And I came back and I realized I needed to get garlic bread. So I go back again down the other way, and he's walking now. Like, I look over in one of the aisle, and I see him walking now. So then I walked really fast down the other part, right? And then I cut up a well-lit 3, like it was like the aisle.
Probably thinking like, if he's down here, then I know he's fucking following me.
So I went down the aisle that you could see everything. Like, it was like soap and stuff like that. So it wasn't like the tall shelves. It was like eye level or whatever. So it was a girl in the aisle, and it was somebody else in the aisle. So I'm walking through, and so I was like, when I get up to the top of this, if he's coming back this way, because he was just walking that way, I was like, if he's coming back this way, I'm about to go and like tell somebody what's going on or whatever. But I didn't see him. So I went to the bread with the aisle with the garlic bread, and I was like, I seen this other dude. Now, mind you, I had already walked past twice, but I just forgot to get it. But both times I walked past, this other dude was in the aisle with the freezer door open. And I was like, who the fuck has the freezer door open that long? So at this point, I was like, girl, you are really paranoid now. Everybody's tripping. So I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, fuck it. Let me just grab this garlic bread. I grabbed the garlic bread, and then I went back, and then I saw him on the other side, but he was just standing there again. And when I tell you he was standing there, he was standing in the way. Somebody had to this lady came with her basket, and she was like, I saw her say, excuse me to him or whatever. So I was like, who stands like that? Like, who does that?
Yeah, those are little details that are suspicious.
Yeah, it was just, the whole thing was suspicious to me. So then I didn't see him at the front of the store when I got up to go do the register. And I was like, well, I'm about to go bring my own stuff up so that I can
get out
I'm
of
not
here.
Standing here. You know what I'm saying? So I run my stuff up, whatever. And then I had kept turning around looking just to see who was there, right? And so I didn't see him anywhere. So then I hurried up and grabbed my shit and walked out. So I got outside, and I was like, so surprise for him is if he did come out, it was a man outside with me, right? But then I was like, I don't want anything to happen. So I just went and got in the car. He didn't come out, and I rolled out. But I feel like even though nothing happened, I feel like the whole situation was weird. I was uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? And in retrospect, I really should have probably walked out once I realized I didn't see him at all and just been out of the store. But I was just so determined to get my stuff or whatever. But it was at nighttime, and I was like, if I was by myself and he really was trying to do something or whatever, he could have just followed me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who knows if he was by himself? Who knows what the fuck he was doing? Let me tell you something.
Follow your instincts. Don't ever feel like, so what? If you hurt somebody's feelings, who cares? sir, you need to stop being suspicious. This is suspicious. Don't be that close to me. So like sometimes I'll be having this experience where somebody's like super close to me and I want to like be like, what are you doing? And then I'll think to myself, oh, you can't do that. That's not polite. But then I'm like, no, they need to know that this is an uncomfortable distance to be having with somebody. So there have been times where I felt like I was being followed and I'll just turn right the fuck around and be like, hi. What's up? Right. And there's a couple of times where I feel like that has worked in my favor because it's like, you know, they might be jolted, but it's like, yeah, when you follow me like this close, I have to be like this to you. Or hi, are you following me? What's up? And then they're not expecting that. But then another thing is like, I also have been followed twice and I was able to react in time to not get whatever they were following me for done to me. But one of the times, and I learned very well from that, I had my headphones in, and that was like years ago, and I've never done that since. And I was on the train, and I was really into my music, and it was like after midnight, and I shouldn't have been having that. But what I recognized was somebody was watching me and following me with a mean mug at the same time. And I was like, and then I recognized that this person is actually following you. You're not making this up in your mind. And then I was able to like maneuver and get away. But I think it's better to just make a scene and look crazy and be wrong if you're wrong than it is because like, oh, it's nothing. And then you're in a white van. You know what I'm saying?
It's no telling, and I think that everybody should be just aware or whatever.
Keep your Apple Watch on. Make sure you know when you
find my Apple Watch. I can't find it. It's in here somewhere.
Negro, I think I need you to find that because when you hold that thing down, you can call 911 that way. When you hold it. So
I do need to find it. But this is another thing that I want to say too, though, is that's one of the reasons why I'm really into getting into shape right now because you know. I want to be able to at least run if I need to fucking run. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I had already pictured this dude. I already pictured myself like kicking him in the like back in third
you know
grade.
What's also funny is you can fight. So you might forget that at times, but like if
I would just want to I wouldn't try to fight a man. I would want to get away. But my point is, if I'm out of shape, how the fuck am I gonna run to my car really fast if I need to? I need to be able to run up at least 20 steps real quick. I need to be able to.
I don't even want to speak this.
And I need to be able to kick.
Okay. I don't want to be able to. I'm not going to speak it into existence, but I will say this. I feel bad for whoever thinks that they have captured someone and they've captured you because they are about to get an ass beating that they did not expect. I mean, because you just look so nice and she's a mom. Or I don't even know if they would know you were mom, but it's just like they probably think, oh, she's not paying attention. She's a young, fit, glowing black girl, and she's probably just doing whatever. And they probably have no idea the number of years of martial arts you've studied.
I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to try to do anything crazy, but all I know is I just need to be able to run up a couple flights of stairs real quick if I need to, 2 by 2. I need to be able to, you know what I'm saying? If I need to hop on top of a car real quick, I need to have the core strength to be able to do that. Like, these are my goals, okay?
Right. But I just want to survive. If all else fails and you find yourself in a situation, you also are experienced in hand-to-hand combat. And that, my friend, is something that a lot of people don't understand.
It's not even going to be like that, though, young. Let me just tell you. Like, I don't want to give on here what I would do, but it's not even going to be.
Don't do that.
It's not even going to be a long, drawn-out thing, right? Like I said, I just need to be able to run, kick, and, just be in shape enough to be able to like hop a fence if I need.
You know what?
I'm gonna be a 7-year-old that's like still like doing pull-ups. Well, I can't do a pull-up right now.
Let me say this. So that's funny that you mentioned that because this is the last thing I'll say before we dwindle off. Is that one of the people I watch? Her name is Face Over Matter, and she does makeup videos, but now she does like some fitness stuff. And she was saying how like, oh, I thought about this the other day and I really should be able to like lift my own body weight. She was like, you never know what situation you're going to be in where you're going to have to like pull yourself up. She was like, so I'm now obsessed with figuring out how to lift my own body weight. So like she started, I want to say like last summer, I think she just posted something that was like, this is my year journey. And it was like in June. So I think she did like a year from June where she was just focused on her fitness. And she was really trying to do pull-ups. I remember this because I was watching her makeup videos and she would be like, I'm doing my fitness thing. And she was like, I really want to be able to do pull-ups. So she was really struggling and she's done this whole year and change of working out. And now she can do all these pull-ups. But when she said that, I was like, that's a really good point. Like, you should be able to lift your own body weight. You never know, like, if you want to fall off a bridge or something,
so,
like, you should be able to lift yourself up.
I am not trying to be a Debbie Downer in this, in what I'm about to say, but we have no idea what's going to happen in this world. So that's why I said that I need to be able to run up a couple flights of stairs real quick. I need to be able to get my leg up to kick. Not that I would have to kick, but like that stuff helps your core strength, right? But like I was talking about the strength training, that is a good weight to start with, your body weight. Push-ups. When I went to the military, all we did was push-ups, sit-ups. I said push-ups. Push-ups,
do some of those too,
running, and that's it. And we got into total shape. Now, if you can lift your body weight, that opens up a whole range of other things that you can do. I mean, even sex gets better. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can, balance yourself in certain situations. Anyway, but no, I think that we all really need to be able to lift our own body weight. I think that's the goal. It doesn't matter if you can't do it right now, because the more you do, the more you can do. So I'm going to talk about that in my next fit vlog for next week, because I had some struggles of my own this week that I'm currently working on. And my challenge that I'm going to be, I'm recording on Saturday, but I think I'm not going to post it until next week. But one of the challenges that I'm doing is something very basic, but I feel like I want to use it as a benchmark of my fitness level. And then I'm going to do it again, maybe in 6 months, and then again at the end, because it'll show my progress. Right. But I think that everybody can do it. I think that we all should be able to at least run up a couple of stairs, like a couple flights of stairs or whatever. I need to be able to sprint. A dog might chase you. You need to be able to get away from it.
You might just have to run and jump and catch a ferry or something.
But the world that we live in, nigga, I might have to get into a fight here soon. You
might. And then you know what? It's just good that we all stay in shape. So I agree with you.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm out there trying to beat nobody's ass, but I'm just saying it's not about to be sweet. Okay? I'm out. You gotta catch me first. Pew!
I wouldn't love to see it, but like imagine
that. You're like, man, I tried to get her, but she took off running.
Okay, first of all, I don't even think there would be a conversation like that. I think it would be like, oh my God, I didn't expect to be this injured. Right? I feel like somebody's gonna really be upset that they.
Girl, I am not about to. If somebody's trying to do something to me, I'm not about to stand there to fight.
They would never expect
I'm out.
If somebody's like, okay, so take this guy, and then we gotta look. We're almost done here. If that guy who was standing there at the front of the grocery store was thinking that he was going to size you up and take you wherever he wanted to take you, he was in for a very rude and injured awakening.
But what if he had other people with him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. But I one of the things that I think people should understand is that, not them, but like, he would be ill prepared for the fight.
Yeah, you wouldn't. That is dangerous to do that, because you don't know who you're messing with or whatever. But I just said all that to say, I think it's just a crazy world.
It's crazy out there. It really is.
We all need to be aware of our surroundings. And if you can't, the basic thing is to be able to run somewhere to pull your body weight up.
Yeah.
That's actually the perfect weight to start with. When you want to start getting into strength training, use your body weight. Do push-ups. Do planks. You know what I'm saying? It's this dude that I watch. His name is Broly Gaines or whatever. And he always be doing videos, and he'd be like, you want to get your core straight at home? Do these. And then he'll be doing the exercise or whatever. But he got ripped by doing body weight exercise. You know what I'm saying? Pull-ups. And if you can't do a pull-up, it's ways that you can Google assisted pull-ups or what exercises to do until you can do the pull-up. Because I actually looked that up the other day, because I can't do a pull-up. And I can do push-ups. I can do a certain number of push-ups, but I looked it up because it's certain exercises you can do to help strengthen your back, and then you just keep trying. The more you do, the more you can do, and your core, which is your abs and stuff, right? Your central body strength. You can work that every day. Like you gotta take a break when you do upper body and lower body, but you can work your abs every day. If you wanted to be like, oh, I want to be able to do more sit-ups by the end of the month, you just get up and do as many sit-ups as you can do. And if you can't do any more that day, try again tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But the more you do it, the more you can do. So,
So let me just end this with a public service announcement for all those abductors and people out there. If you try to get one of us, beware. Because after this encounter, you're going to be missing a testicle.
You will not leave the same way you came. Okay?
You will be missing a testicle, an eyeball, something you value on your body. And so think twice. And then again.
You are so stupid. Hey, so one last thing I want to talk about was there was the Instagram thing that you sent me, and I hadn't watched the whole thing, and I wanted to take a look and see.
Oh, let's.
I think his name's Ace Metaphor. I don't even know why I'm following him, but he must have said something that I liked.
Let's watch what you have, because I had a reaction to this as well.
So, and you know who the first comment is? Kezia.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let me get it up here and see. Let me add it to the stream.
Yeah.
What did I click on? Let's do this. Do this.
But they're sexually unattracted to men, and they have no choice but to deal with you. And they act like these men
I don't know how to
like
start these
women
over
for real.
on Instagram because they don't have a line right here. So I gotta let it play. And how long is the clip?
I guess like maybe 30, 45 seconds. I don't
know. If I can refresh
Go ahead and play it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry I talked.
I'm just gonna see if I can reset it.
This was a really interesting comment from him, and I don't even know this guy, but I saw it online. I was like, oh yeah, that's really interesting. All right,
let's see.
There's so many men that don't like women, but they're sexually unattracted to men, and they have no choice but to deal with you. And they act like it, don't they? Like, these men don't like women for real. They don't bond with women. They don't emotionally connect with women. They prefer to be around men. They respect men. They get along with men. They see men as their equals. They do not view you as it. But the only reason they're with you is because they're not sexually attracted to the men. If it wasn't for sex or power, they wouldn't be with you. I need y'all to watch out for these men. Actually, inquire about whether this man actually like women. Not if you're heterosexual. My question to you is, do you actually like women? There's so many men that don't.
I agree with that. I low-key agree with that.
I high key, mid key, medium low, medium high agree with that.
Good night, Gwendolyn.
On so many levels. Good night, Gwendolyn. I agree with it on so many levels because I think it's actually something that the people he's talking about don't recognize.
No, they wouldn't because they're in it. You know what I'm saying? And they don't see themselves like that, but it's true. But they don't know it. They don't know it. But they may know it. They may know that they just don't like women, or they may just know that women get on their nerves. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they know it in the way that he just called it out, because it's an idea that, most people don't really delve into.
Of course, I'm straight. I like women, right?
Of course, I'm heterosexual.
They'll take it as a challenge to their manhood. But
here's what I will say.
Let me see.
I think this type of person has been hurt by women, has been, not him, the guy who said it, but the person that he's speaking about, the kind of person he's speaking about, has trauma dealing with maybe like a mom, a grandmom, somebody who's in their family or close to their family, where they don't respect or had an issue with a woman and now are in opposition in a way that they don't even understand. And then they go into the world and they push this whole being of themselves out onto the women in their life. And it's almost like it's almost like, and I think women can identify with this, it's like you have friends, women friends, who hate on you. It's like no matter what you're doing, they find something, somehow, some situation, comment, experience is negative with them, and they don't understand it, and you don't understand it, but you're thinking about it like you want everything to be good, but they're hating on you. And they might even know they're hating on you, but they just have a hatred towards you because they never identify what it is that they're up in opposition about. But it's really, I think that's the same thing with men.
So
men that he's talking about.
Yeah, by definition, that would be a misogynistic man. But I didn't know there was a word for women that meant the opposite, like women that hate men. But I already knew that. Y'all get on our, not y'all, but
men get on our nerves.
I don't hate men though, but some of the comments, like one lady says, men like this often interact in condescending ways towards women, and husbands like this are often neglectful towards their wife.
So interesting.
Said, he doesn't really hang out. But as a child, he definitely was neglected by his mom and ran the streets at a young age and messed with older women. That's the type of man that they're talking about, like the type of man who probably hates women. And that's crazy because we know some people like that. You know what I'm saying?
I know a few. And I've dealt with some of them in my past, and it was funny. It's funny to hear this kind of thing because I recognized it immediately. Like, wow, like it was a thought. It was like a fleeting thought, right? Like, wow, you just really don't like women in general, not like in a sexual way.
No, but so like I said, like a lot of things that you end up, like the way you end up being as an adult has everything to do with how you process stuff as a child. And a lot of those situations, this person just said it. The problem is they don't like their mothers and the women that raised them. That's where it starts. And people always like, oh, if he doesn't get along with his mother, this, that, and the other. Now, I think that you can have certain situations where a man doesn't get along with his mother. Doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't respect her, but the details matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what the details are. But
also, here's another thing that I realized is that some of the most masculine, or like not even masculine, I won't use the word masculine, macho is the word that I'm looking for. Some of the most macho men are in opposition of women because their lifeline or their way of survival is to be so macho that anything that they feel is in danger of softening them, they don't respect and they don't deal with well because they're not true masculine men. They're macho. Right? Well, you gotta think like it's not real cheese, it's nacho cheese. It's not real masculinity, it's macho man.
So right? I agree partly with you. Well, I agree with you. I think that, some people just don't know what ingredients it takes to be a real man. Like, obviously, I can't tell you because I'm a woman. But, I mean, I think that it goes back to, like I said, however you process your upbringing as a kid, that is how you're going to turn into as an adult. Because a lot of them can't even verbalize that, right? They can't even verbalize, this is why I feel like this. And this brings up the girl that the therapist, you seen the therapist that got fired because she was telling black men to go to therapy and stop messing with dusty women.
No, I didn't see that.
Girl, so she got fired, but she wasn't lying though. Like I'd always say as a people, everybody probably should indulge in therapy at some point because it's helpful. But you can't get mad at somebody for telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it's the way she delivered it. I haven't looked at her whole TikTok, but let me pull it up for you because I can't believe I didn't send it to you because people have been talking about it like for the last couple of days. Hold on, let me see here. And I honestly have to say that it wasn't a bad video. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta see that. It's so funny though because it's certain ideas that are. This is a good side of social media because there's certain ideas that have never been introduced, right, in conversations, like with the people that were around necessarily, right? But like somebody will have some statement or idea or question that they'll put out there, and it makes you question like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And I think that's so amazing, like, about social media, because this is one of those things where it's like, you never think like a heterosexual man doesn't like women, but it's not about being sexually attracted. It's about respect and right? It's like, it's a really valid question.
She's somebody was talking about it and they called her the opposite of misogynistic. Like, misogynistic is a man who has hatred for women. So they call her, dang, I can't remember the word.
Like a man hater or something. Or maybe it was like estrogenistic. I don't know. That's so weird.
It's the same thing as a misogynist, but it's, opposite because it's a woman. Let me see. What is it called? Let me see. Let me do what I used to do. So opposite of misogynistic or misogyny.
Yeah,
because I'm online learning, guys. I'm learning right here online.
This is so funny. I'll say this while you're looking that up. It's so funny because the opposites are necessarily the same thing. When I think about mansplaining, which is generally a man explaining something to a woman that she probably already knows, I would think womansplaining wouldn't be the same thing. It would be the opposite, which is a woman explaining something to a man that she feels he should already know, but he obviously doesn't. So it's like, oh, you didn't know that? Well, let me just tell you. And he's like, huh?
That's what I think. Misandry. How do you pronounce it?
Oh, misandry.
Okay. It means hatred and it's the inverse of misogyny.
I hear that, Gwendolyn.
It's literally the hatred of men. So,
Gwendolyn just made a good comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the late Kevin saying was so focused on women to change, but not telling men to make adjustments. This is such a.
So, I don't know if I can. I'm gonna have to.
Look, let's have part 2 next week because I have a couple of other things. I want to bring up a couple of other things on this topic, and I kind of want to talk about the late Kevin Samuels as well, but in a very respectful way. I'm not going to drag his name. I know he's passed away, but I think this is a topic that we have much more to talk about because I could go into this for like 30 minutes. So I think,
I'm not going to be able to play this video. I think we're having a delay now. And so my computer, and also what tells me that my computer is going slow trying to find this dang on video. Let me try it again.
So join us, everyone, for part 2 next week when we'll be talking about male and female energy and whether we like each other or not. Which we do.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to find this. Can you hear me? 1, 2.
Yep. 3.
Okay. We got a little small delay.
We got a small delay.
All right. Okay. So I wanted to show you this video, but it does not look like it's going to let me be great right now. But basically they're saying that she was criticizing Black men for not going to therapy, right? But the way she was doing it was like, I guess real. I guess she was talking to them like, stop messing with those dusty bitches, then you don't gotta keep coming talking to me. Kind of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm gonna send you the video after we get off here, and then maybe we could talk about it. We'll if you have some comments, we'll talk about it next week. I apologize, guys.
No, that's okay. We're gonna talk about it next week because we had a great show.
Yes,
I'm so excited. We're gonna have part 2 of Genius. Of our Genius sort of review next week. We're going to talk about this men versus women.
Gwendolyn.
We're going to talk about this men versus women, and I want to talk a little bit about marriage, love and marriage, DC, and a couple of reality topics next week. So
are y'all watching this season of Ready to Love right now?
No, the Miami. No, James started watching it, or he was saying he wanted to start watching it, and we haven't yet. But by next week, I want to recap what I've seen about Love and Marriage DC because I have some new and exciting thoughts on that, and we'll get into Ready to Love Miami, And yeah, we'll continue about Genius and this men versus women on the internet.
Yeah, because
the internet version. Yes.
Anyway,
I'm so excited. Well,
yes.
It was so amazing talking to you as usual.
And thank you guys for sticking it through it with us through all the little technical difficulties and the dog jumping up here and all of that. We appreciate you guys for being here when we do these Thursday night lives. So come back next week. She already wrapped up what we're gonna do. Make sure you check the description for her page. Well, not even her page, her link tree. All of her links are there. I usually drop it in the chat, but I was not prepared today. But it is in the description.
We'll be back,
so you guys can follow her. But yeah, we love you guys.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Bye.